Thanks, Garrett. Happy to be here, and actually happy to be out for my first trade show after a very, very long time. So I know we just took out a mask for a short while, so I'll try and relish this moment. But I am Gaurav Rishi. I'm the VP of Product here at Kasten by Veeam, as we are called now. We do Kubernetes backup and disaster recovery, and it's an exciting field. And in addition to running product, I also look at cloud native partnerships, and it's a very interesting and exciting ecosystem which is growing. So yeah, happy to be here. This is the place to be.
Yeah, so we just saw a presentation from the Cloud Native Foundation. It seems like it's growing really rapidly, and you guys are a marquee sponsor for the CNCF. How did you get involved, and why is that important for you guys?
That's a great question. So I think first of all, Kasten was a startup not too long ago. We were, somebody who was born in this cloud native ecosystem, and about a year back, we were acquired by Veeam, which is the leader in backup, but they focus on hypervisor-based backups. And as the number of Kubernetes and cloud native applications are growing and growing really fast, as you were talking about, the requirement doesn't change from an enterprise's perspective. They still need to make sure all the applications that are put in there are indeed protected. What are classic day two operations of making sure that you have regulatory compliance are still a need. And so for us, we realized early on as a startup that's something that will be required. And the way that problem needs to be solved is different in the Kubernetes world than it had been done in the hypervisor world, for example. But like they say, history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. And so here we are. And I think to your question about us being a marquee sponsor, I always say it's best to see where are you putting where your money, where your mouth is the right signal to put in. And so for us, it's just a testament to the point that we are seeing the growth, and we want to make sure that we're out there putting the word out, but also educating the community along with it. That's a big focus for us.
Yeah, I think that's really important, and it's a big part of kind of the open source ethos as well. What are you seeing in the space that's exciting to you? What are the trends that you're seeing with cloud native computing, with this movement, this shift towards cloud native computing and infrastructure, and how people are managing their applications? What are the things that are kind of like really exciting to you?
Yeah. If I had to sum it up, I think lots of exciting trends, but Kubernetes and cloud native applications, I think, are going both wide and deep. And what I mean by wide is essentially you are seeing a lot more applications and a lot richer applications. So, a lot more applications are now business centric. That means they're stateful, they have databases, critical data in them, and that's growing. And what I mean by deep is, Kubernetes might have started off in the public clouds, very quickly moved over into data centers. You had, distributions there. And now what I'm seeing also as a trend is it's going even deeper with edges. And you see things like K3s come out, and we have customers who might be retail stores or floating ships or, industrial IoT coming along. So it's also going deep inside, and that's a really healthy sign for the ecosystem again.
Definitely. And when you think about who your customers are and kind of when you can you kind of size up like what your customer base looks like? I would imagine it's pretty diverse in terms of the types of companies and the types of industries represented and the types of teams that are using your tool.
Yeah, no, like I said, Kasten by Veeam, if you look at our tagline, we're like #1 Kubernetes backup. And what that means really is it's a very horizontal need. So we don't need to be industry specific, because regardless of whether you're a financial services firm or whether you're a retail company, you do need to protect your data. And especially in today's environment, that's extremely important, where security and things like ransomware are a top concern. So first of all, I think from a market segment perspective, it's a very horizontal play, and it's needed by all sizes of companies and all types of industries. In terms of the persona, what we are seeing, and I know DevOps is an overloaded term, but to break that down a little bit, what we are seeing is, first of all, Kubernetes is not just a way of a technology change, but also mindset changes, the way we joke internally. And so the way that translates is, on one side, we have the developers with this new rich set of tooling available to them, and they're fast-paced, but the operations team still needs to make sure that they're handling all the critical pieces of providing these critical data functions, but not getting into a ticketing system. So self-service portals where application owners can go ahead and see the status of their particular applications from a backup perspective. And if they need to recover really quickly, that is the kind of people that we see. So it's the operation team members who end up going ahead and choosing tools like us.
Yep.
But we end up seeing even the app owners using us for maybe dev test type reasons or being able to partially or granularly restore the applications they need.
So do you think that's an important part of the Kubernetes ecosystem and this cloud native move, is that idea of kind of self-service development, being able to provision infrastructure or back up your application? That seems like a big kind of paradigm shift in the way that we think about how developers work.
Yeah, no, so I think the application developers, the last thing they should be worried about is how do I back up my application?
Right.
So, they should be focused on the business logic, on developing their applications. And so really the paradigm shift in this case is they shouldn't have to go ahead and get slowed down because in the old world, you might have had a ticketing system to go
Right.
ahead and get your application back. So having secure self-service portals, which makes it simple, but yet doesn't slow them down, I think is very much a need right now. And I think that goes hand in hand with the fact that one of the impediments we see is the skill shortage and the knowledge gap.
Yep.
Because Kubernetes is still young. And so to make this self-service portal extremely simple to use, where it's a snap to sort of start backing up and recovering for both the ops teams and the app owners, is an important part. And I think that's another trend that's here to stay.
Keep them focused on the stuff that's important and not focused on the kind of small stuff that eats up all your time.
Yeah, no, it's a very important stuff. So, but it's not the most important thing that they should be worried about as an application
exactly.
owner.
Sorry,
That's right.
You're right. It is important for sure. And you talked a little bit about education. I think I saw that you guys had released like a learning portal or a series of lessons. Or what do you recommend for people that are trying to get into understanding all the tools that are available, the best practices in building cloud native applications or securing them and backing them up? Where should people go to learn about that?
No, so I think I was alluding to this, which is one of the problems as we talk to customers they face practically is that they all believe that there are so many advantages cloud native paradigms bring to them. However, they don't have the skills set, and I think knowledge gap exists. And so we actually launched learning.kasten.io, and the intent here is to get the community to be able to use that to get to speed very quickly in a very practical way.
Yep.
So it's a very simple way where we don't expect you to, download things or install, extremely critical and complex pieces of infrastructure, because that's not what a lot of customers are looking to do, but yet get to learn about what Kubernetes is and get to your day-to-day tasks.
Right.
So I think we give them a simple series of sort of labs which they can take, and you get nice badges which I've started seeing on LinkedIn of people
Awesome.
Sharing that information, and that's been a great success. So quite happy to be contributing to the community on that.
That's awesome. People do love their LinkedIn badges too.
That is indeed true.
So thoughts on the conference this year?
I think keep cloud native healthy is that the tagline this time, and I think that is indeed the right spirit. I think I'm quite impressed about the fact that they've done a good job in terms of keeping the safe distance. At the same time, keeping it to a point where people feel like a muscle which might have already been lost is slowly coming back up in all of us working in these conferences. So first of all, it's really nice to be in a safe environment like this. But second, I think, like you were pointing out, the community continues to grow, and that's very visible for us to see. So happy to see that. Yeah,
absolutely. I think the buzz is kind of palpable. People are really excited to be a part of what's going on. So, so I'd like to thank you for your time. Is there so if anybody wants to learn more about your product or what your team's doing, what should they do?
It's very simple. You just go to Kasten.io. I think we'll take care of you right there. I think would love to make sure that, whether you're really early in your journey about learning Kubernetes, and that's why I was talking about the learning labs that we announced, or whether you are deep into Kubernetes, where you have complex applications out there, and you now need to make sure that they are backed up, regardless of where they're deployed and which storage system you're using. I think Kasten takes that freedom of choice to heart, and that's how we are designed. So just getting on Kasten.io and starting off in a few minutes is what we promise.
Awesome. Get to. And can people get a demo of the product, or they can they can see how it works there?
Yeah, so we are actually both available. In the booths here. We also have a virtual show, so people can look at that, or you can just go to Kasten.io and go through a trial run without downloading anything and get to experience the product.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah. Well, I'd like to thank you for your time, and I hope the rest of your conference goes really well.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for that. All right.